Welcome back to your Orange and Brown Talk for Wednesday. Doug Lesmerises, Mary Kay Cabot, and Scott Patsko. We're doing an Orange and Brown Talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Don't turn it off. Don't turn it off. You care about the Steelers if you're a Browns fan, and you care who their next quarterback is going to be. We have talked a lot about Malik Willis. We have talked a lot about the veteran free agents or trade options that might be available, but we've always talked about them within the confines of the Browns. Do they make sense for the Browns? Well, the Browns have Baker Mayfield. Makes a complicated discussion. The Steelers literally have no one. Scott, if they started a game, if they had to play a game tomorrow, it'd be what? Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins? And they don't want that, right?
They don't have no one. I mean, that's two actual real people you named there.
Look at you. Look at you standing up for Dwayne Haskins. The Ohio State fans will appreciate that.
Mason Rudolph recently was interviewed and said he's really excited about coming into camp, competing to be the starter without having a Hall of Famer there.
I'll tell you what, Mason Rudolph just continues to be an inspiration to all of us, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, Mason. So we don't think that's where they're going. We think they're going to do something else. So Mary Kay, we're going to try to break down what the Steelers might do at quarterback and how that will affect the Browns. We're thinking about this from like a danger perspective, right? Like what would make a Browns fan get worried if the Steelers got a guy? We have run through this, Mary Kay, when we did the Mayfield Matrix. We've all talked about it in terms of the Browns. So Wilson and Rodgers were in a class of their own. But when you get to the Jimmy Garoppolo, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, Matt Ryan kind of thing, we know the Deshaun Watson situation is very complicated. I guess we throw Mitch Trubisky, although he was a backup last year, as we've talked on this podcast many times. He's been a starter in the past. A lot of people think he will be a starter in 2022. Is there a veteran option that the Steelers could realistically get, Teddy Bridgewater, that would strike fear into Browns fans? Or would all of those be fine? Like, yeah, they might be good, but they're not going to be Ben in his heyday. And that's really what the issue is here.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if there's a strike fear guy left. I think Matt Ryan would be somebody that would, that would raise the eyebrows of Browns fans, where they would see all the winning that he's done and how capable and good he is, and put in the right situation with some good coaching and a good defense and a good supporting cast, now a running game and a receiving core. I think that might give Browns fans a little bit of pause. I also think that perhaps maybe a Derek Carr would even have people thinking a little bit, because Derek Carr is a really, really good quarterback who has undergone a lot of adversity and hasn't had a lot of stability and hasn't really had just been surrounded by an organization that completely 100% supports him. And he still is in a situation where he wants a blockbuster long-term extension. And if he doesn't get it, he will be kind of back out on the market. So that's another one where I think that Browns fans might look at that and think, this could get a little dangerous. Because when you think about it, I mean, look what the Pittsburgh Steelers were able to do last year when they had Ben Roethlisberger, who was obviously, well into the back nine of his career, and, maybe even stayed 1 year too long, perhaps. So if you upgrade the quarterback position there, I think it's almost like a 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe elevated, because I think Derek Carr is probably better than Jimmy Garoppolo. And Jimmy Garoppolo took the 49ers to the NFC Championship game. So if you add a quarterback that is significantly better than Ben was last year, and I would put Derek in that category, then I think you'd have something to worry about.
Scott, anybody worry you?
Derek Carr would probably be at the top of that list, a guy who can push the ball down the field and kind of give a different look that the Steelers haven't had over the last few years. This offense, no matter who's there, it's going to look different. They basically, even though they got a new offensive coordinator last year, it was basically the quote unquote Ben Roethlisberger offense. Shotgun, it's short, quick throws, things that Ben Roethlisberger is used to doing and comfortable doing. But that's really not the offense that Matt Canada had run, or that we expected him to run. It's more play action, more pushing the ball down the field. And I think you'll probably see that with whoever they end up getting. And that's why I think Derek Carr is probably, I think that's, as far as a veteran goes, that's probably at the top of the fear list.
So let me broach the guy that we have talked about for the Cleveland Browns and I don't like to talk about cursed Browns things because listen, they have a really good football team. The past is the past. But if the sort of failed number 2 pick in the draft from Cleveland, who goes and rehabs himself in Buffalo and then comes to Pittsburgh and like revitalizes his career and torments the Browns for the next decade as a completely different kind of quarterback from Ben Roethlisberger. If Mitch Trubisky goes to the Steelers and starts running around and being an athlete and making plays, Mary Kay, you have talked about this perception that a lot of people think Mitch is going to be a starter. He's going to get paid. Do you like it? You know, that could be a little clunky in Cleveland because Baker's still here. There's a clean break here in Pittsburgh. Doesn't it seem like there's a chance that could match up?
Yeah, it might make sense. And he's got to be on their list right now. So yes, I think there's a chance that it would make sense. And when I was walking around and talking to different people at the combine, there is a strong sense that there is more to Mitch Trubisky than he was able to show in Chicago. And that was some really, really good coaching. And again, a good defense, which he did have a good defense, another good defense in the Steelers, and then a good receiving core. And now that they do have a good running back. So I think that that there is a chance that they might look at that and say, yeah, we think we can work with this. And there's something that we might be able to do here. So he's one. And then I think Jimmy Garoppolo is another that they are going to have to at least consider very strongly because he can be had. I mean, right? I mean, Kirk Cousins right now is, for all intents and purposes, not on the trading block yet that we know of. Derek Carr isn't necessarily on the trading block, but doesn't have his extension yet. So, you have to start thinking in terms of reality and what you can get your hands on. And so Mitch would be one, Jimmy would be another. And then, I keep, bringing this up in relation to the Browns, but I'm not ruling out Tom Brady coming back to play football again in 2022. I mean, if I'm the Steelers, that is definitely a place that I'm looking to try to get that guy back onto the football field and somehow pry him away from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, even though they've said they won't part with him.
Kirk Cousins totally slipped my mind when I was talking about quarterbacks that should scare the Browns. And yeah, he seems like he would be a good fit for a team that wants to run play action. I mean, and someone who's throwing deep crosses down the field. That's kind of his thing. So yeah, either one of those guys. Kirk Cousins as a Steeler, I think would be not great for the Browns.